Hey there everybody, Mr. K here with another video for Business Math, and today we are in section 9-5. In chapter 9 we've been talking a lot about cars and trucks and other vehicles and the different types of expenses that you're going to deal with. Not just expenses for you as a customer, as someone who owns a car, but also the dealerships and companies that sell these vehicles. Well, today what we're going to look at are the different costs that you pay for just owning a car. Now, there are, of course, two different types of costs that we're always going to face in life. And we've talked about these costs before for other things, whether it was we were creating our budget or even looking at how many books a company might make. And those are variable costs and fixed costs. Variable costs are always changing costs. And these costs, because they change, usually change based on the amount of times that you're driving in your car. The more you drive your car, the more gasoline you're going to use, the more new tires you might need, the more oil changes you might need. So in other words, the more you drive your car, the more variable costs you will have. Then there are fixed costs. Fixed costs are going to remain the same. It doesn't matter how much you use the car. For example, your car insurance, that's going to stay the same. Your registration fees, even depreciation. These are things that are going to stay the same regardless of how much you drive your car. You could leave your car parked in the garage all the time, but you're still going to have to pay for the license plate fee or once again, the car insurance. Now, what is depreciation? You saw that word and you're like, what is that? Well, depreciation is a decrease in the value of your car because of its age and its condition. Now, depreciation is always going to happen. It doesn't matter if you use your car or not. But you can slow down depreciation by not driving your car as much and by taking really good care of it, by keeping it in a garage and washing it and just keeping it maintained. So those are things that can help. Well, what we're going to look at today is total annual costs. In other words, the total costs that you might have for a car for a whole year, and dividing that total annual costs out by the number of miles you drive to figure out how much it costs per mile to own, use, and drive your car. And of course, in order to find that, we're going to be using variable costs and fixed costs. So, with no further ado, let's get right into this example. I would like to point out that this example is the first problem of the 9-5 worksheet. So, Marcy drove 10,000 miles in her car last year. Her fixed costs for the year were $1,500. Let me re-underline that. And her variable costs for the year were $2,000. Once again, variable costs for the year were $2,000. So we're going to use this info to answer these questions. Well, simple enough, I believe. We're going to use step 1, and we take the annual variable costs. Once again, that's the $2,000. And we're going to add it to the fixed costs for the year. So we add them up. Some of you could probably knock that out in your head. And what you get is $3,500. That's A. What was the total annual costs? Now let's move on to B, where we're going to use step 2 to find the cost per mile. For the cost per mile, we're going to take that $3,500 number from letter A, and we're going to divide it by the total number of miles that Marcy drove. Now, you don't have to write the word miles like I'm doing, but if that helps, feel free. So, we take 3,500, divide it by 10,000, and we get 0.35. Just to be sure everybody knows, that is 0.35 per mile. That's per mile, okay? All right? So, as you can see, I think that this section is fairly easy, but that doesn't mean that you might not have something that you have a question about. If you do have questions, please talk to Mr. K. Thanks so much and have a great day.